On January 22, 2025, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia announced a significant expansion of trade and investment with the United States, pledging to increase engagement by a staggering $600 billion over the next 4 years. This announcement came during a phone call with President Donald Trump and was widely reported by the Saudi press agency. The commitment marks a pivotal moment in U.S. Saudi relations, reflecting both nations' intentions to bolster economic ties amid shifting geopolitical landscapes. Context of the announcement. The announcement underscores Saudi Arabia's ongoing efforts to diversify its economy, which has been heavily dependent on oil revenues for decades. The kingdom's economy has faced challenges due to fluctuating global oil prices, and there is a pressing need for substantial investments in infrastructure, especially in light of the upcoming 2034 FIFA World Cup that Saudi Arabia is set to host. Historically, the U.S. Saudi relationship has been rooted in oil, but in recent years the U.S. has increasingly reduced its reliance on Saudi oil, prompting the kingdom to seek new avenues for economic collaboration. The proposed investments are expected to span various sectors, although specific details were not disclosed during the announcement. Economic goals and strategic implications. During the call, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman expressed his belief that this partnership could foster unprecedented economic prosperity for the United States. This aligns with President Trump's agenda to revitalize American manufacturing and investment. Trump has previously indicated a willingness to use tariffs as a means to encourage domestic investment, which creates a backdrop for this new commitment from Saudi Arabia. The financial commitment of $600 billion is significant, surpassing the GDP of many countries and highlighting the economic pressures Saudi Arabia faces. The kingdom aims to continue its ambitious project at NEOM, a planned city expected to cost around $500 billion, and will also need to invest heavily in infrastructure to prepare for the World Cup. Historical ties and previous engagements. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's relationship with Donald Trump has been characterized by close ties dating back to Trump's first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia in May 2017. During that visit, substantial deals worth $450 billion were discussed, setting a precedent for high-stakes economic agreements. The Crown Prince's announcement can be seen as a continuation of this trajectory, with both leaders recognizing the potential for mutual economic benefit. Trump has consistently shown support for the Crown Prince despite controversies, including the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This unwavering support has fostered a unique dynamic between the two leaders, often described as a personal rapport that transcends traditional diplomatic norms. Broader economic engagement. The $600 billion investment pledge reflects a broader strategy by Saudi Arabia to engage more deeply with the U.S. economy beyond oil. With American companies increasingly interested in sectors such as technology, defense, and infrastructure, the kingdom's pledge is poised to create numerous opportunities for U.S. businesses. In recent years, Saudi sovereign wealth funds have made significant investments in American firms, indicating a shift toward a more diversified economic relationship. The commitment could also involve collaborations in defense, as Saudi Arabia relies on U.S.-made weapons and technology. Communication and diplomatic engagement. The announcement of the investment was part of a broader diplomatic effort, with the Crown Prince also engaging with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in discussions regarding bilateral relations. Although the White House did not immediately confirm the specifics of the call, the announcement signifies a renewed focus on U.S.-Saudi relations in the wake of the recent changes in leadership in the United States. Conclusion. The pledge to invest $600 billion in the U.S. marks a significant milestone in the evolving U.S.-Saudi relationship. As both nations navigate the complexities of global economic dynamics, this commitment reflects Saudi Arabia's urgent need to diversify its economy and the United States' desire to bolster its manufacturing base. The implications of this investment are likely to resonate across multiple sectors, shaping the future of economic cooperation between the two nations in the years to come. The announcement of Saudi Arabia's commitment to increase trade and investment with the United States by $600 billion over the next 4 years reveals several counterintuitive aspects regarding the dynamics of U.S. Saudi relations, economic strategies, and geopolitical implications. 1. Economic diversification versus oil dependency. Historically, the U.S. Saudi relationship has been heavily reliant on oil. However, the announcement indicates a significant shift as Saudi Arabia seeks to diversify its economy beyond oil dependency. This move is counterintuitive in the context of the long-standing relationship, which has often been characterized by oil trade as the primary economic driver. The proposed investment reflects Saudi Arabia's recognition of the need to adapt to changing global energy markets and the reduction of U.S. reliance on Saudi oil. 2. Investment amidst economic strain. The pledge of $600 billion comes at a time when Saudi Arabia faces economic pressures due to fluctuating global oil prices, especially following the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. This situation contrasts with the expectation that countries in economic distress would scale back on international investments. Instead, Saudi Arabia is positioning itself to leverage its financial resources to secure long-term partnerships and economic growth, indicating a belief in future economic recovery rather than retreating into isolation. 3. Trump's relationship with Saudi Arabia. The announcement underscores the peculiar nature of Trump's relationship with Saudi Arabia, particularly given the context of previous controversies, such as the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Despite these issues, the Crown Prince's commitment to substantial investment illustrates a willingness to overlook past grievances in favor of economic benefits. This is counterintuitive, as one would expect that human rights violations could hinder diplomatic and economic relations, yet in this case financial interests appear to take precedence. 4. Domestic manufacturing versus foreign investment. Trump's agenda has largely focused on boosting domestic manufacturing and reducing reliance on foreign imports. However, the $600 billion investment from Saudi Arabia could paradoxically support the U.S. economy by fostering job creation and infrastructure development. This investment could enhance U.S. manufacturing capabilities, thereby aligning with Trump's stated goals, while also suggesting that foreign capital can coexist with domestic economic agendas. 5. Global economic power shift. The sheer magnitude of the $600 billion figure dwarfs the GDP of many nations and highlights a shift in global economic power dynamics. It suggests that countries like Saudi Arabia, traditionally seen as reliant on oil exports, are now emerging as significant players in global investment landscapes. This counterintuitive perspective disrupts the narrative that wealth is solely concentrated in Western nations and underscores the rising influence of oil-rich states in shaping global economic trends. 6. Diplomatic engagements in a polarized environment. The announcement comes amidst a polarized geopolitical environment, with the U.S. navigating complex relationships with various countries. The Crown Prince's investment pledge reflects an understanding of the importance of maintaining strong ties with the U.S., even as other nations may feel threatened by U.S. policies. This scenario is counterintuitive, as one might expect countries to distance themselves from the U.S. due to political tensions, yet Saudi Arabia is reinforcing its commitment, indicating a strategic choice to align with U.S. interests. 7. Potential for military and defense spending. Given that Saudi Arabia relies heavily on U.S. military hardware and defense systems, the investment could also be viewed as a potential channel for increasing defense spending. This is counterintuitive in that one might assume that economic investments would primarily focus on civilian sectors, but the military-industrial complex remains a significant aspect of U.S.-Saudi relations, suggesting that defense spending could be a significant component of this massive investment pledge. In summary, the announcement of Saudi Arabia's commitment to invest $600 billion in the U.S. presents several counterintuitive insights into the evolving nature of international relations, economic strategy, and the complexities of global trade dynamics. These insights challenge traditional perceptions of U.S.-Saudi relations and highlight the adaptive strategies both nations are employing in an increasingly interconnected world.
The announcement by Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to increase trade and investment with the United States by $600 billion over the next 4 years is a pivotal moment that many may overlook in its broader implications and significance. Here are some critical aspects of this report that deserve closer attention. 1. Economic diversification beyond oil dependency. While the initial focus may be on the staggering $600 billion figure, the significance lies in Saudi Arabia's recognition of the need for economic diversification. The kingdom has historically relied heavily on oil revenues. But with fluctuating global oil prices and a shifting energy landscape, diversifying its economy is crucial for long-term stability. Investment in various sectors including technology, infrastructure and manufacturing not only aligns with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan but also represents an acknowledgement of global economic trends. The shift away from oil dependency is not just a domestic necessity, it reflects a global change where countries are moving toward renewable energy and sustainable economic models. 2. Geopolitical ramifications. The announcement is not merely an economic transaction, it has significant geopolitical implications. The U.S. Saudi relationship has been historically complex, especially with recent tensions surrounding human rights issues and regional conflicts. By committing to such a substantial investment, Saudi Arabia is reinforcing its alliance with the United States, particularly under the Trump administration, which has shown a willingness to engage closely with the kingdom despite criticisms. This investment could serve as a strategic maneuver by Saudi Arabia to solidify its standing in U.S. foreign policy circles, especially as the kingdom looks to navigate its regional challenges more effectively. 3. Impact on global markets and industries. The $600 billion investment could have far-reaching effects on various global markets and industries. For example, the U.S. defense sector, which has historically been a significant element of U.S.-Saudi relations, could see an influx of contracts and deals that would provide economic boosts to American defense manufacturers. Additionally, sectors like technology and infrastructure are poised to benefit as Saudi Arabia continues to pursue ambitious projects like Neom, a futuristic city aimed at transforming urban living. Thus, the investment could catalyze advancements in technology and infrastructure development not only in Saudi Arabia but also in the U.S., leading to job creation and innovation. 4. Domestic pressure on Saudi economy. The context of this investment announcement comes at a time when Saudi Arabia faces internal economic pressures. The kingdom's budgetary constraints, exacerbated by the pandemic and lower oil prices, necessitate significant foreign investment to sustain its ambitious projects, including hosting the 2034 FIFA World Cup. The investment pledge thus reflects not only a strategy for international economic engagement but also a critical need for financial resources to fund domestic initiatives. Ignoring this aspect could lead to underestimating the urgency behind the investment commitment. 5. Significance of diplomatic engagement. The nature of the communication, conducted through a direct phone call between the Crown Prince and President Trump, highlights a level of diplomatic engagement that is noteworthy. This direct line of communication signifies a personal rapport between the leaders that extends beyond traditional diplomatic channels. Such engagements can lead to more agile decision-making and potentially faster implementations of agreed-upon projects, which is often crucial in international relations. The lack of immediate confirmation from the White House, however, raises questions about the transparency and implications of such high-stakes discussions. 6. Long-term economic partnerships. The investment announcement sets a precedent for long-term economic partnerships between the two nations. By framing the discussion around a large financial commitment, both leaders can leverage this relationship for political capital domestically. For the U.S., it aligns with Trump's agenda of boosting American manufacturing and economic growth, while for Saudi Arabia it represents a crucial step toward achieving its Vision 2030 goals. This partnership could pave the way for future collaborations, setting a tone for ongoing economic engagement that could transcend changes in leadership or political climates in either country. 7.
public perception and media narratives. Finally, the way this announcement is framed in media narratives can shape public perception significantly. While mainstream coverage focuses on the impressive financial figure, the underlying messages regarding U.S. Saudi relations, human rights issues, and the ongoing complexities of geopolitical alliances may be overshadowed. As the media plays a crucial role in shaping narratives, a deeper analysis of the implications of such investments could foster more informed public discussions regarding the nature of international economic agreements and their broader consequences. In conclusion, the commitment of $600 billion in trade and investment by Saudi Arabia is a multifaceted issue that goes beyond the surface-level figures. It encapsulates vital themes of economic diversification, geopolitical strategy, internal pressures, and the potential for long-term partnerships, while simultaneously highlighting the need for critical public discourse on the implications of such significant international agreements.
Recognizing these dimensions is essential for understanding the evolving landscape of U.S.-Saudi relations and its broader relevance in the global context. 1. Investment commitment. The announcement of a $600 billion investment by Saudi Arabia in the U.S. over the next 4 years is a critical point.
This investment signifies Saudi Arabia's strategic move to diversify its economy, which has heavily relied on oil, especially in light of fluctuating global oil prices. It also reflects the U.S.'s growing interest in reducing dependence on Saudi oil, indicating a transformational shift in the economic relationship between the two nations. This point warrants in-depth analysis of how such an investment might impact specific sectors in both countries, such as technology, infrastructure, and defense, as well as the potential for job creation and economic stimulation in the U.S. 2. Historical context. The announcement is rooted in a long-standing relationship between Saudi Arabia and the U.S., particularly during Trump's administration, which has been characterized by significant economic agreements. The historical ties established during Trump's first foreign trip to Saudi Arabia in 2017 set a precedent for high-stakes negotiations, including previous deals worth $450 billion. An analysis of this historical context can reveal how past interactions shape current economic strategies and diplomatic relations, as well as the implications of personal rapport between leaders on international agreements. 3. Economic goals and domestic implications. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's assertion that this collaboration could lead to unprecedented economic prosperity aligns with Trump's agenda to boost U.S. manufacturing and investment. This point raises essential questions about what specific economic goals each country hopes to achieve through this partnership. It also invites discussion on the domestic implications, including how this investment might influence U.S. industries facing challenges from international competition, the potential for tariffs or trade policies, and the impact on the U.S. job market. For her broader implications and regional dynamics, the broader implications of this announcement reflect not only economic interests but also geopolitical dynamics. The promise of $600 billion in investments comes at a time when Saudi Arabia is facing financial pressures and seeks to enhance its global standing, particularly with upcoming events like the 2034 FIFA World Cup. This point allows for a discussion on how economic partnerships can influence diplomatic relations, regional stability, and Saudi Arabia's efforts to position itself as a leader in the Middle East amidst ongoing geopolitical tensions. An analysis could explore how this investment strategy fits into Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 plan and its long-term objectives in a rapidly changing global landscape. 1. U.S.-China trade relations. In the 1970s, the normalization of relations between the United States and China, initiated by President Richard Nixon's visit to China in 1972, marked a significant turning point in global trade dynamics. Similar to Saudi Arabia's current push to increase investment and trade with the U.S. 2. The Marshall Plan. Post-World War II. Following World War II, the United States implemented the Marshall Plan, a massive financial aid initiative aimed at rebuilding European economies. The U.S. committed over $12 billion, equivalent to approximately $130 billion today, to help stabilize and revitalize war-torn nations. This investment not only facilitated economic recovery but also strengthened U.S. alliances in Europe, reminiscent of Saudi Arabia's $600 billion investment pledge aimed at enhancing economic ties with the U.S. and fostering mutual prosperity. 3. Japan's economic miracle in the 1980s. In the late 20th century, Japan experienced rapid economic growth, often referred to as the Japanese economic miracle. This was characterized by significant foreign investment, particularly from the United States, and strategic partnerships that bolstered Japan's industrial base. This economic engagement led to Japan becoming one of the world's leading economies. Similarly, Saudi Arabia's ambitious investment plans signal a desire to diversify its economy and strengthen ties with the U.S., drawing parallels to Japan's strategic economic initiatives during its period of growth. Future outlook, predictions for U.S. Saudi relations and economic implications. Overview. The recent announcement by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman MBS to increase trade and investment with the United States by $600 billion over the next 4 years marks a pivotal moment in U.S. Saudi relations. This strategic move is expected to reshape economic landscapes, enhance bilateral ties, and influence global markets in several critical sectors. 1. Economic diversification in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia's commitment to invest heavily in the U.S. signals its ongoing efforts to diversify its economy away from oil dependency, particularly as global oil prices remain volatile. The Kingdom's Vision 2030 initiative, which aims to reduce reliance on hydrocarbons and develop other sectors such as technology, entertainment, and tourism, will likely drive the types of investments made in the U.S. Predictions. We can expect to see substantial investments in technology and renewable energy sectors, as Saudi Arabia seeks to bolster its technological infrastructure. Partnerships with American tech companies could flourish. The establishment of joint ventures focused on innovation and sustainability, particularly in clean energy projects, may become a hallmark of this investment drive. 2. Impact on U.S. manufacturing and infrastructure. The potential influx of $600 billion in investments could significantly bolster U.S. manufacturing and infrastructure, aligning with President Trump's agenda to revitalize these sectors. Predictions. Increased capital from Saudi investments may lead to job creation in manufacturing, particularly in sectors where the U.S. has competitive advantages such as aerospace, defense, and technology. Infrastructure projects may receive a boost, with Saudi investments potentially contributing to the development of transportation networks and smart city initiatives in the U.S. 3. Geopolitical dynamics and defense relations. The U.S.-Saudi relationship has historically been anchored in defense agreements, and the new investment pledge could further solidify this partnership. Predictions. Defense contracts may see an increase, as Saudi Arabia continues to rely heavily on U.S. military technology and support. This could lead to new arms deals or upgrades to existing systems. The geopolitical implications of these investments could extend beyond mere economics, potentially enhancing Saudi Arabia's role as a regional counterbalance to Iran and increasing its strategic importance to U.S. foreign policy. 4. Global markets and trade relationships. The magnitude of Saudi Arabia's investment commitment could also influence global markets and trade relationships. Predictions. A surge in U.S.-Saudi economic ties could inspire similar initiatives from other countries seeking to strengthen their trade relationships with the U.S., particularly in the Gulf region and Asia. As Saudi Arabia diversifies its investment portfolio, we might see increased competition in sectors like technology and energy from other nations, prompting a re-evaluation of trade policies and tariffs by the U.S. 5. Challenges and considerations. Despite the positive outlook, several challenges could hinder the realization of these investment goals. Predictions. Domestic political dynamics in both countries may impact the execution of these investment plans. In the U.S., changing administrations and policy priorities could shift focus away from Saudi investment. International pressure and human rights concerns surrounding Saudi Arabia's domestic policies may complicate the investment landscape, potentially leading to a backlash against U.S. companies involved in partnerships with the kingdom. 6. Long-term economic collaborations. The establishment of sustainable economic collaborations between Saudi Arabia and the U.S. will depend on mutual interests and shared goals. Predictions. Long-term partnerships in sectors like education and workforce development could emerge. With Saudi investments in U.S. universities and training programs designed to build a skilled workforce. Collaborative efforts in research and development, particularly in technology and environmental sustainability, may lead to innovative solutions that benefit both economies. Conclusion. The $600 billion investment commitment from Saudi Arabia represents a transformative opportunity for both countries, with the potential to reshape their economic futures and enhance collaboration across various sectors. While challenges remain, the focus on diversification, technological advancement, and infrastructure development could pave the way for a strengthened U.S. Saudi partnership in the years to come. As both nations navigate this new economic landscape, the outcomes of these investments will likely resonate well beyond their borders, influencing global markets and geopolitical dynamics for the foreseeable future.